Hey, good morning. I am Paul Mireles here in the KENS 5 Weather Center. Of course, travel is tough out there this morning. We still have winter storm warnings that continue across the hill country. We've got a actually I should say an ice storm warning across the hill country and winter storm warning for other locations. I'll show you all that here in just a second. Okay, we're both on streaming and also on broadcast. And again, thank you for joining us. All right, here's what's happening right now. We've got an impact warning, KENS 5 weather impact alert, of course, because of the icing that is going on. And that is going to continue through noon today. Then we've got another impact for Monday morning and Tuesday morning because of the temperatures. But for right now, let's just focus on what's happening out there now. We do have some freezing precip, but here's the good news. The precipitation is moving out of the way as the upper level system kicks out. But we've seen significant icing in the hill country, anywhere from around a quarter of an inch to about half an inch in some locations, mainly sleet, freezing rain, and then from Bexar County kind of south and eastward, mainly freezing rain, and accumulations anywhere from 1/10 of an inch to about 1/3 of an inch, something like that. So just keep it right here on KENS 5, get KENS 5 Plus, and also you want to go to kens5.com. All right, let's take a look at the map. Here's what's happening out there right now. We do have an ice storm warning that continues for the hill country, all those counties there in blue. What does the ice storm warning mean? That we've seen significant icing, quarter of an inch to a half an inch, and a lot of this came down as sleet. So some of the roads could be hazardous this morning, not just the bridges, but in the ice storm warning area, some of the roads could have problems because of the sleet. And that's mainly the hill country, including Bandera, Kendall, Comal counties, and then counties to the north from there. We also have a winter storm warning for the counties that are in the kind of a pink color there. And in the winter storm warning area, you've seen more freezing rain and not as much sleet. So I've been getting reports this morning that on the highways are passable because mainly been freezing rain here in the city overnight. But the bridges are still an issue on the main highways. They've been treated heavily. So the bridges are okay, just don't go fast, but there are some problems. The Fine Silver Curve downtown, I believe that is still closed, completely closed because it's completely iced over. Also, the Dominion, we've got a 18-wheeler that's jackknife on one of the bridges there on I-10, and there's the Dominion right there, so watch out for that. So again, some of these bridges, they are hazardous. And one of the reports I'm getting as well is if you're on the secondary roads here in the county, they're fine, they're passable, but don't get the courage because all the secondary roads, the bridges have not been treated. And so if you get going 40, 50 miles an hour, you're going to hit, it's amazing how many bridges we have that you don't even think about. And so if you're on the secondary roads, you're going to run across these bridges and you're going to slide. So watch out. If you don't need to travel, what I would say is don't. And if you have to travel, go slowly. So this winter storm warning is until noon. Okay, here's what I think is going to be happening as we head through the rest of the day. Temperatures this morning mainly in the 20s. This is just one computer model, by the way, but I think high temperatures today will be in the city in the mid-30s. There's going to be complete sunshine. Again, mainly here in the city in Bexar County, the precipitation was in the form of freezing rain and not as much. So with complete sunshine, with solar radiation, and also due to sublimation, a lot of this will go away throughout the day. But if there's anything left over once the sun goes down, it will refreeze on those bridges. I think the problems Monday morning here in the city are going to be sporadic. In the hill country, that's a completely different situation. It's going to stay below freezing all day, and even though we'll have solar radiation, there's a lot of liquid, and then that will freeze hard tomorrow morning. So there will likely be some travel issues, especially on the bridges, widespread all through the hill country for tomorrow morning. So keep that in mind. Okay, for the folks joining us at KENS 5, just to reiterate, we've got this ice storm warning that continues until noon. Do not travel across the hill country this morning if you can avoid it. In the pink areas, winter storm warning does continue, and that winter storm warning continues until noon because it's going to take a while for the sun to work on those bridges and the overpasses. So definitely want to keep that in mind. Okay, thank you for joining us here at KENS 5. For those that want to continue, we're going to continue streaming, and we'll keep you up to date, and we'll probably do the stream for a while. So if you want to listen to more what's going on, go over and hit us on kens5.com and YouTube and all kinds of things. We're going to keep that streaming. We're going to keep that streaming going. Okay, so winter storm warning continues for most of the area. travel is, I would say, discouraged this morning, especially secondary roads. Keep that in mind. Those secondary roads, my goodness, they're good, but it's the bridges that are going to be a problem this morning with temperatures below freezing. All right, the ice storm warning continues for the hill country. All right, showed you what I think is going to be happening as we head through the day for the rest of the day today. Temperatures will warm to a little bit above freezing here in the city. I think high temperatures today will be, anywhere from 34 to around 36 degrees. In the hill country, never getting above freezing today. And again, even though we'll have that solar radiation and we'll have the sublimation, and in case you're wondering what is sublimation, that's when liquid goes from a solid state right to a gas and skips the liquid state. And that's going to happen because of wind. Wind will sublimate some of that ice. But if you're below freezing, even though you've got a lot of sunshine, you're going to have some melting. But once the sun goes down, boy, it's going to freeze really hard again tomorrow morning all through the hill country. So forecast as we head through the day today, this is for San Antonio. High temperature will be around 34 or so. We'll have lots of sunshine throughout the day. And then once the sun goes down, boy, those temperatures will drop off quite a bit into the 20s. Okay, let's take a look at the radar. Here's what's happening on the radar right now. Here's the good news. This is very good news for you, is the shower activity, the freezing drizzle and the freezing rain is moving rapidly out of the way. Matter of fact, just a few sleet showers left over around Cuero. We've got a few little not sleet showers, but freezing rain showers around Goliad, Victoria, Lavaca County. A few rumbles of thunder between Lavaca County and Houston this morning. We did have some of that thunder earlier, about 1 o'clock this morning as well, but all that is scooting off to the east. Now, I'm going to have Chelsea with me this morning, and she's going to be feeding me comments. Do we have any comments out there right now, Chelsea? About road closures and things like that. Yeah, the only road closure that would impact a lot of folks that I know about is the Fine Silver Curve downtown. That one usually gives us problems. It's elevated, and so that's the one that I know about. I'm going to try to see if I can work in getting some road closures. I'm not expecting here in the city a lot of road closures per se. But again, secondary bridges, boy, they're really tough. I know we had Sarah Duran, who does traffic for us. She said she had a really tough time on one of the small bridges. She even forgot that bridge was there. But if it's got air underneath it, you're going to slide on that bridge. So be careful on the secondaries. The highways, they've been treated. And so those bridges on most of the highways are okay. You don't want to go fast, but they're okay. But it can take you by surprise. All of a sudden you hit an icy spot, even if they have been treated. You'll hit those icy spots and then you will have a big problem. I'm going to leave it here on the radar, and I'm going to go to, we'll let you look at traffic while I'm looking at this. The outages, this has been a big improvement this morning. Earlier this morning we had 24,000 customers without power. That has come down to 9,000, which is very, very good. As you can look at the outage right there, you can see what's happening. Most of the outages so far have been just kind of north central around 410. Also on the northwest side, one of the biggest power outages that we've got right now is kind of close to the, I guess, Phil Hardberger Park area, kind of West Avenue, kind of close to Lock Hill, Selma. We've got some folks affected there. Also, this is real sporadic, by the way, around the Castle Hills, Churchill Estates area. We've got some folks without power there. Around, let's say, 10 and 410 and those areas. We've got a few that are without power there as well, kind of close to the White Wing. Is that White Wing Lake? Area. Callahan, we've got some power outages on Callahan, just west of I-10. That's close to the station. Not affecting us here at the station, good news. And also, let's see, Thunderbird Hills, we've got a few power outages there as well. And looking at just off to the west of there, we've got power outages. Oh, okay, well, I'm running this. That's fantastic. Great Northwest, we've got some power outages here. Let's see if I can, about 2,000 folks without power. We've got about 300 or so. Northwest Crossing without power this morning. Again, it's just real sporadic, and probably what happened here is you had just too much buildup of some ice on a tree limb. fell down on the power line and knocked out your power. But as I was saying earlier, right now there's 9,000 folks without power. Earlier this morning, that was like 24,000. So really doing a good job. And every time I click on one of these, it's fewer and fewer customers that are without power, and that is definitely a good thing. On the northwest side, we've got 2,000, well, I shouldn't say 1,200 without power, and this is going to be just west of Bernie Stage Road. Just to the west of Scenic Oaks, in that little area, you're without power, but they are working on it. Let me do one more here. This is kind of close to the Terrell Hills area. We've got some folks without power, and that's going to be kind of close to New Braunfels Avenue. Those folks are you're without power as well, but they're working on restoring it. So there's your update on the power outages. Chelsea, you got any more comments here? 410 and 37?
Any closures around there to Pleasanton?
Okay. All right. You know what we need to do is I don't have the road closures, and a lot of folks are asking about road closures. I need to get somebody to work on that, and we'll work on that for you. Okay. So while they're doing that, I'm going to show you the radar here. Okay, so looking at the radar, the showers are moving out of the way, which is definitely good news. Still, though, here's Cuero. You can see some sleet showers going on around Victoria to Cuero, over to Hallettsville as well. And just northeast of Hallettsville, we've got some freezing rain with some thunder and some lightning. Okay, so how much ice accumulation? We're going to step through this. As you can see from this map, it looks like the heaviest ice accumulation was in a couple of areas. One, north central portions and northwestern portions of Bexar County. And on the northwest side, that kind of coincides with some of those power outages. Eastern portions of Bandera County, eastern Kerr County, through Kendall County, southern Blanco County, western Comal County, and western portions of Hayes County. That's where we had the most. And I know what your question is, well, how much? How much? It all depends on where you're at, but I would say if you see those purple areas, northwestern portions of Bexar County, eastern portions of Kendall, western Comal around 281, southern portions of Blanco County, western Hayes County, up to a half an inch. So I would say when you see the purple there, you can pretty much consider you picked up about 4/10 to a half an inch. And I would say in Kendall County, western Comal County, Blanco counties, and eastern portions Kerr County, not only are you having problems with bridges, but a lot of that was sleet. And so you may have some problems with some roads this morning as well. Let me move this a little bit. Southeastern portions of Bexar County, not as much accumulation. And again, I know your question is, well, how much is not as much? Closer to like 0.1, like 1/10 to 2/10 of an inch there. And then we had a little bit of an up kind of increase here. I doubt very seriously, to be honest with you, that you had 4/10 to 5/10 around Floresville to Smiley Nixon. But I can definitely believe 1/4 of an inch to about 1/3 of an inch in that little swath there. Let's see, what highway is that? That's close to 97. Just south and southeast of 97. So from Floresville to Stockdale, I'm sure you picked up anywhere from 1/4 to 1/3 of an inch of freezing rain mainly. And then Gillette to eastern Gonzales County, between Gonzales and Shiner. Again, I doubt you picked up 0.4 to a half in that zone, but probably more like 1/4, maybe 1/3 of an inch, and that is causing some issues this morning. Probably no road issues, like I said, because this came down mainly as liquid, but bridges, especially the secondary roads from Karnes County into eastern portions of Gonzales County. I'm sure you've got a lot of problems there. Looking further back to the south and west, very light amounts around Eagle Pass, but you did have some freezing rain. And then a little bit heavier from La Prairie to around Uvalde. You had a little bit higher area there of some freezing rain last night, and also maybe some sleet showers that go along with that. So you can just kind of see we had widespread freezing rain and also sleet all across south central Texas, and that's one of the reasons why we've got the ice storm warning that continues there in the hill country. Chelsea, you got anything new?
Not right now.
Not right now. Okay. Okay, so temperatures, that's the second part of what's happening out there. Temperature right now, we're looking at 25 at the airport. Bulverde's at 22. New Braunfels 23 degrees. We got 27 at Stinson. Lackland at 27 degrees. So a pretty good hard freeze across almost all of, well, actually, I should say all of Bexar County this morning. Let's widen the scope a little bit. Let's take a look at some of these temperatures. By the way, I'm not sure what happened to the ASOS at Kerrville. The reporting station, I don't know if it just froze completely solid or what, but they have not been reporting out of Kerrville, so which is very unusual. Fredericksburg has got 16-degree temperature there. Del Rio 25. We've got 23 New Braunfels. Floresville, I've noticed the temperature in Floresville and Pleasanton coming down to about 29, Gonzales 28, and the freezing line right now is somewhere around from Cotulla to Beeville over to Port Lavaca. Victoria, you're below freezing. You're at 31 with some freezing rain showers continuing, maybe even some sleet mixing in there, and also there at Hallettsville. So I know what you're thinking right now. You're like, well, temperatures are in the 20s, but what's the wind chill? We got still pretty good wind out there, and it's biting. Just make sure and bundle up. This is not a commercial for Carhartt. I said this earlier whenever we were on earlier, but man, my Carhartt jacket, I wouldn't have another one. Keeps you dry on the inside and very well insulated. That's the kind of material you want. You want a big jacket. Also, don't forget your gloves and your face, because look at these wind chills. Fredericksburg, -1 is what it feels like. Feels like 0 at Rock Springs. Feels like 14 here in the city. New Braunfels feels like 8. Feels like 17 at Floresville. Now, when you get closer to the coast and some locations down to the south, different story. Not quite as cold. Feels like 20 Victoria. Beeville feels like about 24 this morning. And one thing you're going to notice as well, too, if you didn't park your car inside, it may take you a while to get into that car. You're going to have to yank really hard on the on the handle to open the car door, because it's solid. You know, it's just shut solid. Also, the windows. Now, don't follow what I do, but it works for me. Is I open the car door. It takes me just a second. Get that thing open. You get inside, run the car for about 5 minutes, 10 minutes, something like that. Get it warm. And get it all warm, and then I use not warm water, but I use cold water, because you don't want to break your windshield. But have the water cold as you can without it being ice, and pour it on the windshield, and that works for me. And then that'll loosen up your windshield wipers, and then you'll be set to go. Does not work very well though on your rear view mirrors that are outside, because you can't warm those. There's no way to warm those. If you start putting water on those rear view mirrors, that's a mistake, because you're just going to create more ice on those rear view mirrors. So watch out for that. So be careful though with using that water, because you don't want to crack your windshield. And that if you use that method, I think it will work for you. Definitely chilly out there. Okay, just for kicks, and then we'll circle back around real quick. Let's take a look at some of these temperatures across the nation. And the only reason I'm doing this is I just want to show you how the extent of the cold. 34 for a high here. Dallas-Fort Worth 20, Little Rock 22, Wichita, Kansas 14. Look at all of those temperatures. That is just frigid conditions across the U.S. All right, the reason that the precip is coming to an end, and we're going to see sun today, is the main upper level trough. You can kind of see that U there right through the middle part of the country. It's kicking through, taking the lift with it, and out of the way. So we're going to see sunshine this afternoon. Monday and Tuesday we'll have some sunshine. And then for the end of the week, Friday, the clouds come back. We'll have chances for showers. And I know you don't want to hear this, and I'm going to be real conservative here. Temperatures are going to be really close to freezing Friday night and into Saturday morning, but for right now, let's just keep it all liquid, okay? But just kind of keep that in the back of your mind. Got a little disturbance coming on the back end, and plus this week is going to stay pretty cold because we're just emptying out all of that cold air out of Canada, northern part of the country, and it just continues to push south. So this is going to be a cold week ahead for us across south central Texas. Okay, so temperatures today with lots of sunshine. We'll hit about 34 or so for a high. Up in the hill country, high temperatures only in the 20s. I'm expecting a high in Kerrville, 26, something like that. Fredericksburg, 22. I believe Jeremy Baker, I believe he's still up there in Fredericksburg. Is that true, Chelsea? Yeah, and he's going to be on when we go live. I think our show starts at 7, right? Okay, so if you want to see what's going on in Kerrville, Jeremy Baker, he's going to be with us. All right, temperatures tomorrow morning in the city, 19. 12 degrees Kerrville, that's hard freeze. Fredericksburg 10. Let's just look at Kerrville real quick. You know, Kerrville went below freezing late Saturday morning, I believe. And so once we get to late this morning, that'll be 24 hours straight. continue freezing through Monday morning at 14, and Kerrville may hit a little bit above freezing on Monday, and then right back to it Tuesday, and then finally thawing out by noon Tuesday. That is a long duration of temperatures below freezing. You know, if you live in the hill country, you know what to do, but I really hope that you took care of those pipes, because once we get to Tuesday afternoon and into Wednesday, we're going to find out if those pipes are okay. But this is a long duration freezing event, and so yeah, these pipes are it's gonna be tough on them, because you're not gonna get much above freezing until around noon on Tuesday. That's many, many hours below freezing. All right, Chelsea.
How are things along 410 and 281 near the airport?
Okay, 410, 281 near the airport. You know what, the best way to handle that is let's go back to how much precip fell. And you know what, Chelsea, one thing that'd be great is if we could get like an accumulation of the roads. I guess if we go to, what website? That's yeah, if you could for me, Chelsea, real quick, if you could go to San Antonio City, they will list those road closures. Do you know where to go on that?
I think I do.
Okay, all right, so Chelsea's gonna work on that, and we're gonna get you the updated road closures. We should have done that before we hit the streaming, but you know, sometimes you don't think of everything. Okay, so what was the highways, your roads you were talking about?
281 and 410.
281 and 410 area. Well, let's, for right now, until we're looking up the actual road closures, let's take a look at 281 and 410. Overnight, you picked up about 0.2 of an inch of precip around that area. And so the highways are passable the highways are passable, the roads are passable because this was mainly liquid with a little sleet. But the bridges were really treated heavily. And so the bridges should be okay, just tread lightly. But if you're on those secondary roads, those are the ones that you want to watch out for. Okay, we've got an update list for you here. Here are the closures. We've got Maltzberger Lane from Highway 281 to the access road. That is closed, and that started to close just not too long ago, at about 3 o'clock this morning. Again, that's Maltzberger Lane from 281 to Country Parkway. Also closed is East Nakoma and US 281. That's a big area. That's right there by the airport. So East Nakoma is actually, it's not the whole road. It's the intersection. There's an intersection issue. There's probably ice at the intersection. Sarah Duran was telling me that a few of her intersections, when she was there was some ice built up on the intersection. So the intersection at Nakoma and 281 is closed currently. It started at 3:22 this morning. There's another intersection issue, started at 3:30 this morning. That's from Green Mountain to Loop 1604. And let's see, we've got another intersection issue. It's Martin Luther King Drive and Salado. That was at 3:38. And okay, we've got them up on screen now. East New Braunfels Street, we've got an intersection issue there. Now, when they say an intersection issue, the more I look at this, is it may not necessarily be because of ice. It could be like the lights are blinking, or there's a blinking, a traffic issue with the signals. That could be an issue. But just to go over those again, the road is closed, Maltzberger Lane from Highway 281 to Country Parkway. There's that intersection issue, Nakoma 281, Green Mountain and Loop 1604. Also Nakoma at 281, Martin Luther at Salado. And that's the only one that's listed as ice, but I'm sure there's other ones that are also listed. It's Martin Luther King Drive at Salado. They're saying there's ice there. Here's that, we're looking at that 18-wheeler that jackknifed. It looks like to me that they've moved the 18-wheeler kind of off, right? Isn't that what that looks like, Chelsea? Yeah, it looks like they moved it off the road, but that is definitely icy. So watch out. They're doing whatever they can to get that. Okay, plans are that they're going to reopen this by 8 a.m., okay? So that's up there on the far north side. That's Dominion at I-10, and that gets you up to date. Oh, there's a new intersection issue that just came out, East New Braunfels south, East New Braunfels going south. So, okay. All right, so that's what's happening on those roads. And again, if you're just now joining us, it seems like the interstates are okay, most of them. The roads are okay, and I stress okay, not great, okay. And one of the reasons why the bridges are okay on the major interstates is TxDOT treated those very heavily. And so with all that treatment, they're okay. I would not go fast. And really, matter of fact, if you don't have to travel, I would discourage travel. But if you have to, go slow. That's the key. Now, secondary roads, boy, that's a completely different issue. You're going to run into maybe a little bit of some ice on some of the intersections on the roads. I think the roads, for the most part, are okay here in the county. But the bridges, those secondary bridges, you know, until we get into a situation like this, you forget about how many little bridges we have over creeks and little streams and things like that. Those are completely iced up because those were not treated overnight. So just keep that in mind. Okay, we're going to go, I think Chelsea's got, yeah, what do we got? We got a comment?
The drive from San Antonio to New Braunfels,
Okay.
I'm assuming 35.
35?
Sounds like.
Yeah. How does that look like? Okay, from San Antonio to New Braunfels, if you've got to work this morning or you've got somewhere you have to be, the highway is passable. It's okay. And again, I stress okay. But the bridges, just be extremely careful. And if you're coming out of New Braunfels, you know, those secondary roads, those are the ones that you really want to be careful on, and the bridges. So take it easy on that. And I think that pretty much applies. I need to get an actual, I can't wait to hear from Jeremy, an eyewitness account there, up there in Kerrville, as to exactly what's happening. I haven't heard from many folks up there in the hill country this morning, but I would assume that there's a lot of roads that are having issues this morning, and so watch out for those. Okay, so we're gonna wrap this up in just a little bit. We got an ice storm warning that is continuing because we've seen accumulations of ice around 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch across the hill country in those counties in purple. Again, roads could be a problem. Definitely bridges are a problem, especially a lot of those that were not treated, especially the secondary roads. Adjacent to that, we've got a winter storm warning that continues until noon for all the counties that are in pink, and that includes Bexar County. Accumulation overnight, anywhere from 1/10 to about 3/10 of an inch of ice, mainly on elevated surfaces and bridges. So roadways are okay, highways are okay. Bridges, though, those are the ones that you definitely want to watch. And here's what's going to be happening as we head through the rest of the day today. We're going to see some sun, and that is definitely a good thing. Maybe as early right as sunrise, definitely by 8 a.m. we will see sun. Temperatures will warm up into the low to mid 30s. I'm thinking here in the city, 34, 35, something like that. So with the solar radiation, sublimation, a lot of these problems that are on some of these secondary bridges, the water, the liquid, most of it will go away. But in those areas that picked up more, let's say 1/4 inch or more, you're going to have a problem. So I think the problems in the city tomorrow morning are going to be spotty, but there will be some problems throughout the hill country, probably widespread issues, because there's no way with temperatures below freezing, even with the sun and the sublimation, there's no way that you're going to get rid of all of that liquid. And so Monday morning, I'm anticipating a lot of travel issues, especially on the bridges all through the hill country tomorrow morning if you have to get somewhere on Monday. And if you're traveling anywhere north, oh my gosh, it's heavily discouraged. Even more of an issue as you go into North Texas, East Texas, and over in that direction. Okay, really quick, see if we have any last comments.
Lise wanted to know about the thunder and ice seen overnight. I'm guessing the thunder.
Oh yeah, that was very interesting. One way, who was that asked that?
Lise.
Lee?
L-I-S.
Oh, L-I-S. Oh, Lise, okay. Maybe short for Lisa, maybe not. I don't want to guess. But okay, Lise, that's a great one, and we'll probably end up on this. We'll end on this. Okay, so why, even though it was so cold, and I'm going to tell you, the colder it is at the surface, the colder it is, the harder it is to produce thunder and lightning because you just don't have as much buoyancy. But up and over that real shallow cold air, it was only about 3,000 feet thick or so. Above that, that's where your buoyancy is, and you're able to get those clouds growing. And to produce thunder and lightning, you really need to have cloud tops at least 20,000, 25,000 feet. It's pretty hard to do in a winter situation. But the main upper level system, see those reds kind of coming across there, across South Texas, caused enough lift to create thundersleet last night in some places, and even some thunder freezing rain last night. And so that's really where we picked up our big accumulation, is when the big upper level system came through. We picked up 1/4 of an inch of ice really quick in a lot of places, and that's what really did most of the problems for the bridges on these secondary roads. Was last night sometime after 9 p.m. That's when we had the real issue. Okay, looking at the radar, rain showers, sleet showers, and also the freezing rain showers are moving out of the way. We've got a lot of clouds out there this morning, but the sun will come out, and that's going to help our situation. Okay, let's see if we've got one last comment.
How are things from the medical center towards Helotes?
Medical center over towards Helotes. Again, same thing applies there. Secondary roads, if you're leaving your house, watch out. The nearest bridge that you hit, that's probably the one that's going to give you problems. The first bridge, because it wasn't treated probably on those secondary roads, be very, very careful. Go slow and keep that steering wheel straight. Do not apply the brakes. Keep the speed constant. And most of the bridges on these secondary roads are fairly short, and you may get across those. If you don't have to be anywhere this morning, don't drive. That's the best advice that I can give you. And the freeways are okay. Bridges, they've been treated. They're okay, but don't have a lot of courage. Don't have a lot of courage, because we've got some problems on some of these bridges at the Fine Silver Curve. Also, extreme north part of town had an 18-wheeler jackknife on one of the bridges there around the Dominion and I-10. Okay, I think that's going to wrap it up. We appreciate you being with us this morning. We will have our newscast that starts right at 7 a.m. And we do appreciate you being here at KENS5.com, and make sure and download KENS 5 Plus and watch us on KENS 5. We start our show at 7 a.m. Be safe out there, and if you don't have to travel, I wouldn't. Okay, be safe, and we'll see you later.